Self-discipline. Just hearing the word can bring a wave of frustration, maybe even shame for most people who have ADHD. It's been drilled into us as something we lack, the reason we struggle, the thing standing between us and our potential. But here's the truth. Self-discipline is not the enemy. In fact, it's essential. Like me, you probably have big goals. Starting your own company, running a marathon, becoming a doctor, getting that degree, or whatever truly matters to you. More than that, you want to be that person. The one who follows through. The one who can be relied on. The one who makes things happen. And that takes self-discipline. But here's the good news. People with ADHD can be just as self-disciplined as anyone else. We just need a different approach. A strategy that actually works for our brains. And that's exactly what this video will give you. A crash course to becoming self-disciplined in 4 simple steps, designed for ADHD brains. Step 1, understanding and managing your ADHD. This can be very straightforward, so stay with me here. A lot of us skip this step, and I need you to not skip it. The first step to becoming self-disciplined as someone who has ADHD is to understand your ADHD brain. We make up less than 15% of the population, maybe even less than 10%. So the system, expectations, self-help advice around us are largely designed for neurotypicals. Those productivity books that tell you to just suck it up and do it were definitely not written with ADHD people in mind. And while it's not those authors' responsibility to include us, it's ours to understand how our brains work and adapt everything we're learning to fit our unique wiring. Once you have that understanding, the next step is to manage your ADHD. For me, the frustration of not being able to fit into neurotypical systems is what led me to take action. I realized that managing my ADHD didn't need self-discipline. It was about meeting my basic needs first. Simple changes like getting enough sleep, realizing that exercising more helps my brain function better, and setting reminders, which I used to not do at all, helped me create the foundation I needed for future self-discipline. So it's not about forcing yourself to be self-disciplined right away. It's about starting with the basics to make sure you're functioning at your best. Once you do this, you'll be better equipped to build on that foundation and make self-discipline a natural part of your routine. If you've watched my videos before, you might know that I'm a big fan of FocusMate, and that's the best habit of all times that I built into my ADHD routine. FocusMate actually makes me want to be self-disciplined. I just go on their platform and basically they connect me with anyone in the world who wants to work at the same time. We connect on a video call together, we say hi, share our goals, and then just go into work mode for 25 minutes, 50, 75 minutes. At the end of the session, we share our progress together, and usually we chit-chat, and I often make very good connections on FocusMate, which I really enjoy. So if you want to build a good habit of getting work done, then I suggest trying FocusMate, because I know once you try it, it will definitely turn into a habit. That's how I get most of my work done, and that's how I get those videos done as well. So click in the link if you want to try FocusMate for free. I get a small commission if you upgrade to the annual subscription, which I think is really, really worth it because it's less than $90 a year, and I use it up to 6 times a day. So very, very worth it for the money. Let's get back to the video. Step 2, stop forcing discipline, start building habits. Self-discipline always felt like an impossible skill, something other people had, but not me. So I never really bothered trying to develop it. But then I came across James Clear's idea of tiny changes, remarkable results in atomic habits. And then everything clicked. For someone with ADHD, building habits felt like a much kinder, achievable alternative to self-discipline. And maybe that's because self-discipline was often used against us before we even knew we had ADHD. Comments like, see, she turned in her essay on time because she's disciplined and you didn't, so you're just lazy. Those words stuck. Even if they weren't directed straight at you, the message was clear. Disciplined people succeed. And if you're not disciplined, well, you must just be failing at life then. I didn't realize back then that my struggles weren't just a lack of discipline. They were ADHD symptoms I hadn't learned how to work with yet. So instead of forcing myself to be disciplined, I shifted my focus to something that felt easier and more natural: building habits. Self-discipline always felt really hard. Building habits felt manageable, even fun. By focusing on small, intentional habit changes, I gradually built the kind of structure I had always struggled with. And ironically, the more I worked on habit formation, the more self-disciplined I became, without even trying. So why does this work so well for ADHDers? James Clear has a really clear explanation of why habits work so well for us ADHDers. He says, habits reduce cognitive load and free up mental capacity so you can allocate your attention to other tasks. And for us, attention is already a scarce resource. By turning key behaviors into habits, we spend less energy forcing ourselves to remember, decide, or push through resistance, freeing up more mental bandwidth for creativity, problem solving, and the things we actually care about. If you like this video so far, then that's great. Please make sure you like it, share it with your friends, family, whoever has ADHD in your close circle. I'm sure this could help them, and this will really help me to grow this channel. Thank you so much. I'll let you get on with the video. Step 3, let go of the lazy identity. If you were diagnosed with ADHD later in life, or even in your teens, you probably spent years hearing that you were lazy, missing deadlines, skipping homework, or procrastinating. Teachers, friends, and parents told you it was a choice, like you just weren't trying hard enough. And even now, that label might still stick. Maybe you don't fully believe it anymore, but deep down, you might still expect yourself to fall short. But here's the thing. If you think of yourself as lazy, it will shape your actions. That's what James Clear explains in Atomic Habits. Your behaviors are usually a reflection of your identity. What you do is an indication of the type of person you believe that you are, either consciously or unconsciously. That's why no amount of trying harder will make self-discipline stick. Because if deep down you still think, I'm just a lazy person trying to be self-disciplined, your brain will keep pulling you back to what feels familiar. But identity isn't fixed, and that's the good thing. It's malleable. When I got diagnosed, I finally had an explanation for most of my struggles. Executive dysfunction, time blindness, emotional dysregulation, but I still carried the weight of that lazy label. Until I read this. Identity shapes actions, and actions reinforce identity. I didn't have to force myself to become disciplined. I just had to start thinking and acting like someone who gets things done. So I did 2 things. Number 1, I stopped identifying as someone lazy. Instead of I'm bad at finishing things, I told myself I follow through on what matters. Number 2, I took small, consistent actions that aligns with that new identity. Turning in work on time, showing up for myself, my family, and my friends, being reliable. At first, it actually felt quite unnatural, but every action was a vote for this new version of me. And over time, those votes added up. That old I'm lazy belief still tries to creep in sometimes, but I can now challenge it because I have proof that I'm not. And actually, laziness isn't the only false identity that ADHD gives us. You might also believe I'm selfish. I'm always late. I have no self-control. But these aren't truths. These are just stories buried deep down in your brain. And just like laziness, you can rewrite them too. So the only thing to remember is your identity can work for you or against you. And only you get to choose what identity you embody. Step 4, hack self-discipline with pleasure. What if we challenge the idea that achieving great things always requires struggle and hardship? Ali Abdaal tackled this challenge in his book Feel Good Productivity, where he experimented with making everything he needed to get done fun. At first, I was quite skeptical. I thought, yeah, right, as if writing an essay could ever be fun. The idea of turning something I hate into something that could actually be enjoyable made no sense to me. But with curiosity and hope, I gave it a try. As I experimented with this mindset, I began seeing positive results. And I started seeing patterns in other books I was reading that confirmed what I was learning through those experiments. Ali wasn't the only one exploring the link between pleasure and productivity. In Effortless, Greg McKeown dedicates a whole chapter to this idea. He calls it Enjoy, What If This Could Be Fun? A key takeaway for me was his insight that separating important work from play makes life harder than it needs to be, and that essential work can be enjoyable once we put aside the Puritan notion that anything worth doing must entail backbreaking effort. James Clear also dives into this concept in Atomic Habits, where he talks about making habit formation more enjoyable through 2 key laws of habit formation: make it attractive and make it satisfying. The science behind this is clear. Hard work doesn't get easier simply by pushing through with willpower. For ADHDers, it's even more true. We need to enjoy what we're doing to maintain focus. focus. And that's why it's especially important for us to make hard tasks enjoyable. But there's another crucial piece to this puzzle: purpose. No matter how much you make a task enjoyable, if it's working toward a goal you don't care about, your efforts will feel pointless and much harder to maintain. In one of my previous jobs, my purpose wasn't clearly aligned with my coworkers, and everything I did in that job felt incredibly difficult. Now, working for myself on projects that I care about, I realized just how much more I've been able to achieve in the past 2 months. It's insane how the same boring tasks that felt so hard before now feel easier. And I'm getting through them faster too. As someone with ADHD, when you're connected to what truly matters to you, the work becomes less of a struggle and it flows more easily. So how does it all tie back to self-discipline? Self-discipline isn't about forcing yourself to endure pain and struggle to reach your goals. It's about creating this environment where self-discipline feels natural or even enjoyable. When you align your tasks with pleasure and purpose, you remove the need for constant willpower. Now you have the 4 steps that I think are crucial for an ADHDer to build self-discipline. It starts with understanding your ADHD brain and building small habits that work for your brain. It's also about shifting your identity from seeing yourself as someone lazy to embracing being the person that gets things done. And lastly, when you focus on making tasks more enjoyable and you align them with your purpose, self-discipline will become much easier. Keep taking those small steps one at a time. And if you want more content like this, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and let me know what you think. See you in the next one. Bye.